guys, it's Ree, and today we're going to be doing my May wrap-up. I actually read a bit last month. I read a lot of library books, a few of my own books, and actually quite a handful of graphic novels, so we probably should get started. The first thing that I want to talk about is the first book that I read, and that is The Treatment by Suzanne Young, and I really, really love this book. It was a really good conclusion to the duology, and I think if you haven't picked up the program, you should pick it up and read it. It's pretty good. It's really fast read. I will probably doing a review and a rebook pick maybe on these two books. Next book that I read is How to Train Your Dragon number 10. That is How to Seize a Dragon's Jewel, and How to Train Your Dragon book number 11, and that is How to Betray a Dragon's Hero by Cressida Correll. Sorry. I think that it's great that even though there's 11 installments, she still is true to the characters, and it's still the same book, and there's still new content. And even though, it's a really good thing that it's not the last book. Next is Pretties by Scott Westerfeld, and even though it's quite superficial, which you actually kind of expect from something called the Ugly series, I thought it was a pretty good of a second novel to the series. It covered a lot. I wanted to see a little bit more of the love interest from the first book, but I think it was still a pretty good book. Next up, I read Dreams of Gods and Monsters by Laini Taylor, and I think it was a beautiful conclusion to the trilogy. If you haven't read the series, you really should pick it up. It takes a while to get into the world, but once you do, it's such beautiful writing. I love that series. But yeah. Next up, I read Insurgent by Veronica Roth, and I actually pretty much loved this one. I loved this one. There was so much drama and a lot of tactical and running away, and there was a lot of things going on in this book. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be doing a book talk on this one in the next couple of weeks, or hopefully in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I really love this book. After that, I read Allegiant by Veronica Roth, and overall it's not my favorite book, but not for the reasons that you may think. I'm going to probably go into it again in another book, because I can't really talk about it without spoiling for people who hasn't read it yet. You really should read the Divergent series, even though a lot of people don't like Allegiant, but I didn't mind the ending. It was just some things that really is the only reason why I don't like it. If those things were fixed, I think it would have been a solid book. Next up, I read The Lover's Dictionary by David Levithan, and it was very interesting. The format was kind of different. It was written like a dictionary. It might not be for everyone. It might feel like school to most people, but I think it was really cool. Another book I actually get to show you. The next book that I read is Attachments by Rainbow Rowell, and this was the big explosion book of the month, and I really, really loved it. This was my first Rainbow Rowell book, and I think it was so cute and quirky. It's her adult novel, I think. It's a really good book. You should really check it out. Next up, I read Beauty Queens by Loba Bray, and it was kind of weird. I don't know if it was for me, my style. It was okay. I liked it. It was just kind of weird. Next up, I read The House of Night Legacy, and I liked this book because the artwork was... Hold on. Hi. The artwork is pretty cool, and it's kind of darling, and I don't know, I liked it because it was a nice transition into a graphic novel form, and I also liked it because, well, it wasn't the story, it was, it was like more into the world and more into their legends and stuff, which I loved. I think it's just really pretty. And then I went on kind of a graphic novel kick, because next I read Tantalize in graphic novel form, and this is from Kieran's perspective, and it's all in black and white, but look at all of the facial expressions. Like, can you see that? All of the facial. He's like brooding, and I love looking at other people's artwork, and so it was just nice to see like everything from his point of view also. And I also forgot a lot of stuff because it's been a while since if I can get it out. It's been a while since I read Tantalize, so it was nice to kind of get a little refresher on the Kieran's perspective. Next up, I read Archie Meets Glee, and I don't know, I found it in my library, and I was like, I need to read that. And it was kind of cool seeing hold on, let's get a good picture of them. It was cool seeing Glee leaks in like Archie form. It was really interesting and really well done. Some of the stuff didn't make sense like scientifically, but it's an Archie. I shouldn't expect it to. But yeah. Next up, I read House at the End of the Street by Lily Blake, and this one was alright. Like for the first 5 chapters, nothing really happened. There was a lot of like explanations and stuff, but after the first 5 chapters, like the chapters after that, it was pretty good. It was very fast paced towards the end. It was the same thing for the movie actually. It reminded me of a toned down Disturbia, if you guys have read or watched that movie. I don't know. Next up, I read The Vow by the Carpenters, and also with the help of Dana Wilkerson. Yeah, I thought this was a really good book. I actually bought this because, well, my mom read it, and I watched the movie, and I wanted to see how their actual story, like, was different from the movie, and it's actually quite different, and I understand why they changed it, because in the movie, it's more about them overcoming the challenges, but if you're going to put it into film, always adding the in-laws in there, you know, that doesn't really agree and all this other stuff is better to watch than just them struggling. Yeah. So I actually really like their story. I don't mind that it's not exactly the same as the movie, but it is really different. Next up, I read Vampire Academy graphic novel and Frostbite, the graphic novel, and I think that the illustrations, I love them. Like, I love seeing what they look like, and also it's really cool to see, like, it's also really cool to see them using their powers, because, you know, you look at it, or you're reading it from the actual book, and it's like, okay, and you can kind of, you know, sorry, I can't talk. You can kind of imagine what they're doing and stuff, but it's really cool to actually have visual representation. I shouldn't be filming today because I can't talk. Alright. Next up, I read Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, and it started out really annoying. I don't think I should read anything around this type of period, but it was good. I loved it more than I thought I would. I just wanted to read it to, like, my mind a little bit. It ended up growing on me, but some of the parts of the book are kind of annoying. Next up, I read Specials by Scott Westerfeld. It's pretty much the same thing as Pretties. It's the structure of these books are pretty much the same. Like, she's back to square one, and then she starts to grow and up as a better person, and then towards the end she gets kidnapped, she gets chained, she grows, you know, something like that. So again, it starts out superficial, and she ends up, I did like the ending. I'm sad that, I can't talk about that. But I did like the ending. I thought it was good. Yeah. Okay. Next up, I read Extras by Scott Westerfeld, and I think this shouldn't have been part of the series. It's kind of like a companion novel because it's not about Tally Youngblood. It's about another character. And there wasn't much of a story. And I didn't think the fame-obsessed world was... I didn't like it. I didn't like the fame-obsessed culture. I think it would have been better in its own little world and its own, like, actual thing so you can actually grow up a little bit. I think he just threw it in there because he already had the world, and why not? Next up, I read V for Vendetta and, the graphic novel. And, I wanted to watch or read this ever since I watched the movie the first time, and I thought it was pretty good. It is different from the book, It is different from the movie, but it's okay. It's not that bad. Next, I read Me and Earl the Dying Girl by Jessie Andrews, and this is the funniest cancer book that I have ever seen, ever read. It's quirky, it's cute, and the characters in this are freaking hilarious. And my battery's about to die, so I can just speed this up. But it's okay, because I only have one more book to go. And lastly, I read The Diviners by Logan Bray, and it was a very interesting story. It ended up irritating me a lot through the book. Like, Evie's character was kind of irritating. She's like unk, and she just thinks she's better than everybody. But for the most part, I thought it was a really good story. There was murder in it, and I think it was pretty good. But yeah, I'm sorry I had to kind of rush the ending, but, yeah, I kind of had a little bit of, I had to hurry it up. So, I'm tripping at the finish line, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will be doing my TBR soon, and also I have, other stuff planned, so I hope you guys are ready for that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!